What's up, my dudes? It's the Vigorous Q&A. I can't believe it's already Saturday. Did you guys see the news that Eli Lilly is suing everybody? Let's discuss that right off the start because it doesn't look good. And let me see if I can share that on the screen because the Reddit party might be over. Not really, but I'm sure some of the sources and the gray area peptide and the websites are going to take some precautions. So let me see if I can share that on the screen. Share screen. There you go. Share. Add it to stage. All right. Look at this press release. So Eli Lilly calls on online platforms, payment companies, and regulators to shut down the illegal retarded trides black market. And then it's a lot of blah, 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 obviously. Let's see. Somewhere listed here. Oh, yeah. So these are the ones that they, that they're suing. Aesthetics Envy Cosmetic Center, never heard of them. Astra LLC, never heard of them. Legendary Peptides, Stryker Pharmacy, Texas Peptides, Lone Star Peptide, never heard of any of these companies. But if they're attacking small companies that nobody has ever heard of, imagine what they're doing to bigger companies. And they're actually asking for collaboration of people to actively report, credit card companies, payment processors, shipping, logistic companies, entities selling to conduct their illegal businesses must cut off the infrastructure enabling this illegal trade. And you can also be a snitch and call 1-800-LILY-RX and tell Eli Lilly that Retrotide is being sold at XYZ website. I mean, this is not good, guys. This is not good. So the party might be over for a while, or soon to be, at least for Retrotide. And I started this Eloralintide experiment, which is also being made by Eli Lilly. So soon, all the good stuff that Eli Lilly has a patent on that isn't even on the market yet might be removed from circulation, and then it will go underground. So it might be a little bit more difficult to get in the US, but anywhere else, if you know, you know. So that's the latest news. It's linked down below in case you want to read the full article, but that's basically what's happening. It wouldn't surprise me if Eli Lilly was the one that got my Instagram account down, because a lot of the reels that were reported on the OG Vigorous Steve account, they were about Retrotide. So a lot of the Retrotide reels got flagged, and other reels as well. And then eventually Meta was like, you know what? You get flagged all the time. You're out of here. And Paul just got his Facebook account banned. I mean, Meta, IG, it's you're always on borrowed time. Anyway, guys, I hope you have a great week so far, right? It's the weekend. Enjoy yourself. Next week will be the Anabolic Roundtable episode 24, the 2-year anniversary. We're basically 2 months late for the anniversary, because I think the first episode was dropped in, I don't know, June or something, or maybe even May 2024. But it's 24 episodes since officially 2-year anniversary on a month-to-month podcast. We discussed the bubble cat prevention. We'll drop it next week. It's already recorded. So let's say Wednesday, because it's a big tier list. And the Anabolic Roundtable and Transparent. So that's myself, Kurt, Dean, and Niall. We all did a podcast together on the Transparent podcast. Will drop next week or the week after. I don't know what this queue is. That's his YouTube channel is linked down below. YouTube.com/@transparent with Nell Niga. That's linked down below. And so that's the subscribe there if you don't want to miss it. It was a good discussion. And talking about, the companies having issues with other companies selling products, Disguised Alpha is having a 20% discount this weekend. Started yesterday. So for all of the guys that already used my code yesterday without announcement, thank you guys so much. And if you were not in the loop, because again, if I post a sale on Instagram, I get my account flagged, and then I can't send messages for 60 days again. So no more Instagram promotions. You can't do it. China. It's impossible. So Disguised Alpha is having 20% discount on all of their products with code Vigorous today and tomorrow, and then Monday it's right back to the regular 10%. Right now, Disguised Alpha has launched European shipping from the United States to the countries United Kingdom. So that's 4 countries in one. France and Germany, and they're working on other countries in Europe. At one point or another, everybody in Europe will be serviced by Disguised Alpha. Whether that's with a European warehouse or shipped from America, they're working on it. But at least UK, France, and Germany is already live. So if you live there, then you can also shop at Disguised Alpha and get it in. And they're also shipping to Canada. So they're doing the global distribution thing. The Reta and Sema pens are live. So if you don't want to do the reconstitution and the drawing yourself, they have pens, easy click system similar to Genotropin, growth hormone, or Novo Nordisk growth hormone, or the OG GLP-1 pens. Right? The click system, nice and easy to administer. Exenatide nasal spray is launched. The SLU-PP-915 is launched. The ATX 304 is back in stock. And so, yeah, a lot of opportunities to use that 20% discount for the guys that are interested in SLU-PP-915 because they're tired of megadosing the SLU-PP-332 because it supposedly has such poor oral bioavailability. I'm happy to announce that with my experiment of SLU-PP-915, I can comfortably say after about 5 servings this week, I did like 3 servings of 10 milligrams. That doesn't feel the same as 100 milligrams SLU-PP-332, but 20 milligrams comes close. I would say that based on anecdotal N of 1, right? Me, plenty of experience with high dose SLU-PP-332, up to 400 milligrams, no less, right? And surprisingly, I don't have liver cancer yet, but somebody's got to be the first, right? I would say that 20 milligrams, 25 milligrams comes close of 915, comes close to 100 milligrams 332 based on my energy levels during the workout. Fat loss, well, I have a whole cocktail, obviously, but fat loss is pretty good this week. And so I'm going by energy levels and the amount of sweating that I'm doing. So on 10 milligrams SLU-PP-332, 10 milligrams SLU-PP-915, I didn't really notice additional sweating at the gym. Maybe it's because I took the 10 milligram serving in the morning and I train in the evening. But then an additional 10 milligram serving pre-workouts, I would sweat to a similar fashion as taking 100 milligrams pre-workout, but I would then take multiple servings. And then sometimes I would take 50 milligrams in the morning, 50 milligrams in the evening away from the workout, but the energy levels would still be sustained. So an N of 1, I would say right now, based on my personal experience, 20 milligrams to 25 milligrams 915 equals approximately 100 milligrams 332. So that means 4 to 5 times more potent regarding oral bioavailability. Doesn't mean that 332 is not orally bioavailable because we have plenty of anecdotal reports that 250 micrograms, 500 micrograms, 1 milligram, 100 milligrams, 200 milligrams, etc. works just fine. But this will work better on a milligram for milligram basis. So you have a look at Disguised Alpha. They're the only ones that's selling it right now, and it's on 20% discount. They start shipping on Monday. Have a look into that. What else am I experimenting with? The A083, I had to discontinue because Sunday I did my blood work, and then I saw that my C-reactive protein was 9.6 milligrams per liter. That's a little bit high for comfort. So you're coming from 0.5 milligrams per liter, which is normal, baseline, to 9.6 after one injection of 400 milligrams ACE083. So that's 200 milligrams in this tricep and 200 milligrams in that tricep. And then the day afterwards, I did 600 milligrams. So that's, I wanted to do 800 milligrams. Basically, you have to do 200 milligrams per muscle. I trained quads. I wanted to do it in my left quad. I did 200 milligrams in the teardrop, 200 milligrams in the middle, 200 milligrams in the outside. And then I wanted to do another 200 milligrams, basically deep intramuscular, like the muscle that's underneath. And then I didn't feel too good. So it seems to be like there's a dose-dependent inflammatory response. I would say, based on my experience now, it's probably better to do 50 milligrams, but multiple times. But again, so I stopped it for now. I'll do blood work again tomorrow to see if my C-reactive protein is still elevated. Then I'll administer next week again, but 50 milligrams bilaterally into the triceps, maybe on chest as well. So I'll reduce the dose a little bit. and then see if the inflammatory markers are still elevated. Because if the inflammatory markers are still elevated or elevate again, then for me it's not sustainable. I know 2 other people are running this experiment. They haven't done blood work yet. They'll use a lower dose, so 50 milligrams bilaterally, so that's 100 milligrams 3 times a week. They didn't do blood work yet, so we don't know where their C-reactive protein is, but they are experiencing similar side enhancement, but they don't get the negative effects that I got, probably because my dosage was so much higher. Now, you guys tell me, based on last weekend, I did 1 shot in my tricep, right? Let me know how it looks. So I'm not sure if this is placebo, but I feel my tricep is bigger. It's so difficult to. I'm not sure. Maybe I should take some pictures. You can definitely see where I injected it because I got a bump here. So this is where it went in. But the inflammation is down now. Yeah, I'm not sure. It does look a lot more peaky. And my quad is gained an inch. I don't wear underwear, so I won't be able to show it to you. But my left quad gained an inch in a week. So it does do something. I don't want to stop using this because if it really does that much for side enhancement, then obviously I would want to grow some body parts that are lagging, especially my left leg. I mean, I tore my quad, in case you remember, 3 months ago, leg pressing 4 plates. Good stuff. So it is a very promising drug, but if it raises inflammatory markers, then it might not be sustainable. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's polypharmacy. Maybe the ACE-083 is interacting with something that I'm also taking. So I'll run the experiment. I'll continue with it. I don't think it's available yet. They got the third-party test back, and it shows that it's exactly as expected, right? Benzo alcohol and ACE-083. So the product is good. But yeah, based on an N of 1, it might raise inflammation, and that makes it not very sustainable. So, well, I'll keep you guys posted. Let's see. I did Humanin. I don't really notice anything of that. Same as SS31. On paper, it makes sense. I'm finishing Humanin this week, or I have 2 more injections left, I think, and then I've ran about 20 milligrams, 2 milligrams per day, basically. Can't say that I notice anything from it, but on paper, it does make sense to take Humanin because levels drop just like MOTS drops with age. Training increases MOTS and Humanin levels. So, right, obviously, if you train, it's less of an issue. But if you want to go super physiological, you would need to inject MOTS and Humanin. And but it seems to be unnoticeable. So on paper, it makes a lot of sense to help with mitochondrial function, prevent against oxidative stress. And I would say for now, based on my research, that if you were going to do ATX-304 or BAM15 or DNP, if you're that crazy still, right? You disregard all the alternatives. If you're going to go the ATX-304 or the BAM15 or maybe the DNP route, then Humanin, 2 to 5 milligrams and 2 to 5 milligrams SS31 makes a lot of sense to protect your mitochondria and your body from oxidative stress because, again, ATX to a certain extent and BAM15 to a greater extent, but not as much as DNP, are uncouplers, and that means an increase in oxidative stress. And even though the scientific evidence doesn't really show that oxidative stress parameters increase with ATX-304 and BAM15, it's been poorly investigated, obviously, and you don't account for the polypharmacy of taking something like MOTS alongside of it, or SLU-PP-332 or 915 to increase mitochondrial biogenesis, or everything else that increases mitochondrial biogenesis. So if you have more mitochondria and they're also slightly impaired regarding ATP synthesis due to this uncoupling effect, then you should be able to expect more oxidative stress in the mitochondria. And if that leaks out because you don't have Humanin or SS31 in the picture, then your body also experiences oxidative stress. And in my opinion, it would not be worth it. And again, I would say that these compounds are short duration only. DHT Enth did blood work. First 4 weeks, I did 10 milligrams per week based on the bioavailability of 33 times more potent. Then oral DHEA, my DHEA dropped by 200 points. Then I increased it to 30 milligrams DHEA Enanthate per week. My DHEA dropped by another 50 points. So now I increased it to 200 milligrams, and I'll do blood work tomorrow. 200 milligrams is basically the similar dose as the oral dose. Orally, I was taking 37.5 times 7 is 262. And then 200 milligrams, of course, it's a little bit less. If you discount for the ester, it's maybe 150 milligrams. Let's say it's half of what I'm taking. So hopefully that will increase my DHEA levels. Based on a little bit more research, it seems that DHEA Enanthate kind of bypasses sulfation. The unfortunate thing is that I can only check for DHEA sulfate here in Thailand, not for free DHEA levels. So if you take oral DHEA, obviously in the liver, the sulfation is going to happen. The steroid sulfatase enzymes that convert DHEA to DHEA sulfate, to do that with estrogens as well. And that acts as a reservoir similar to DHEA enanthate or testosterone enanthate or any kind of ester attached. It's a reservoir, but it's sulfated, not enanthated or cypionated or propionated. And so it acts as a buffer, a reservoir. But it seems that injectable DHEA enanthate, it goes to DHEA, but then it's less likely to get sulfated. Not so much scientific evidence on this stuff, a couple of anecdotal reports. So we'll see what happens when I increase the dose from 30 milligrams to 200 milligrams. I'll let you guys know next weekend when I got some more blood work. And then Eloralintide, I started 0.5 milligram yesterday. I'm happy to report that I'm not lethargic like I was with 0.5 milligram Cagrilintide. The next day, and especially at 0.5 milligram 3 times a week, I was lethargic AF. And I don't like to be lethargic. I like to be energetic. So far, do I notice more appetite suppression? Not yet. I mean, it's a long-acting drug, just like Retatrutide, right? So my plan is to take 0.5 milligram Eloralintide. It's unpronounceable, man. Eli Lilly, step up your game. Make some better names. Eloralintide. You got to do Eloralintide. 0.5 milligram Eloralintide Monday, Friday, 1 milligram per week, alongside 5 milligrams Retatrutide twice per week. So that's 10 milligrams per week. And then push it up, the Eloralintide, to 2 milligrams per week. So that's 5 milligrams Reta, 1 milligram Elora, Monday, Friday. And that, I think that's going to be the sweet spot for managing appetite. And then you have basically 4 pathways, right? We have GLP-1, GIP, glucagon, and amylin. And Eloralintide seems to be more selective for the amylin receptor 1 over the amylin receptor 2 and the, the calcitonin receptor. And that's unlike Cagrilintide, which has a similar affinity for the amylin receptor 1, 2, and the calcitonin. So Eloralintide, I think it's 11 to 12 times more affinity for the amylin receptor 1 over 2 and the calcitonin receptor. And that should mitigate some of the side effects. So it also seems that in scientific evidence, dose escalation goes up to 12 milligrams again. So Eli Lilly probably designed Eloralintide just like Retatrutide, like, let's fucking ramp up the dose weekly as fast as possible so you fucker spend as much money as possible, because we need to recuperate all the money that we're losing before these drugs are even brought to market, because it's already on the gray area peptide websites. So some people are going to be on the max dose of 12 milligrams Retatrutide and 12 milligrams Eloralintide eventually. And then, what is that Jew meme? He's like, right? That's going to be Eli Lilly counting their money. So, are those all the updates that I have? That's pretty much it. Wow. All right, 20 minutes for updates. Let's get the disclaimer out of the way, and then we do some questions. Let's scroll down and have a look. See, I know audio. I'm talking for 20 minutes. No, I'm joking. I know we got audio. Eli Lilly has a big dick and should swing it. Yeah, that's what they're doing. I mean, we've heard like Joshua, we have a mutual friend that talked about this long time ago, right? Eli Lilly is pissed. and they're coming after people. You know, need to get my passport of Viva Honduras. Yeah, I'm sure Eli Lilly cannot swing their dick over there. Hey Steve, been watching your content for some time now. I started Reta last year. See, it's the first question, guys. It's the first question is about Estradiol. Started Reta last December at 316 pounds, now 237. Nice. Would ATX be a good add-on to continue with the journey, also working out 4 times a week? So I would look into other mitochondrial aids before you add in the ATX, because it does work better at a lower dose if mitochondrial function is already upregulated. And again, like I just mentioned in the intro, ATX, BAM15, DMP, or any kind of mitochondrial uncoupling warrants the use of 2 to 5 milligrams SS31 and 2 to 5 milligrams Humanin, now based on my research, just to protect yourself and your mitochondria from oxidative stress. Again, the problem with ATX and BAM15 and DMP is it makes you very lethargic, very tired. Workouts are not as good. Another problem with ATX is that it's a pan AMPK activator, so all 7 pathways of AMPK are activated, and now you're downregulating mTOR and you're inhibiting protein synthesis. I felt kind of flat and not very progressing on ATX, even with SLU in the picture. I had MOTC and SS31 was in the picture. I didn't take Humanin, but that was a different experiment. Now I know more. Next time I add in ATX, I would definitely add in the Humanin and maybe 2 milligrams per day, because I would do low dose ATX and low dose SLU-PP-915 and keep track of my markers. So that means that mitochondrial function needs to go up first. And while you're taking ATX, you would probably not make any progress regarding muscularity, or very little, or half. Even if you're on steroids, I don't see anything about steroids in this picture in your message. So if there's no steroids in it, it might not be a good idea, because you're already eating less. You're in a caloric deficit. You dropped a lot of weight in 8 months. Protein intake might not be good. And I don't think you can increase your protein intake to offset the negative effects regarding AMPK signaling and the reduction of mTOR and inhibiting protein synthesis. Now, in the scientific evidence, based on the animal studies, muscle mass doesn't go down. Well, were they training? Were they on gear? Were they bodybuilders? Were they, right? Was it in combination with Reta? No. So people that I talked to so far that run 50 milligrams to 100 milligrams of ATX and not more, right? Scientifically, it goes up to 400. Yeah, but that's not in the context of mitochondrial support stack. Most of them say the same thing: flat workouts, like flat glycogen stores, flat workouts, not really making a lot of progress, and short duration only. So if you want to get lean for, I don't know, September, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, go for it. But longer than that, I would take I would run it no more than a month, and then take some time off to kind of restore your skeletal muscle and your strength. Oh, he also started with TRT. 150 tests, blood 3 days ago, hemoglobin 70.3, hematocrit 51. Still waiting on more results. Okay, so did you go and hydrate it? It's always the same question, right? But it's not alarmingly high. See, went from 50 hematocrit, 200 tests to 55 in a month on 350 tests. Started eating a lot of beef after upping dose as well. How long should I wait to check labs after adding methylene blue? Go and hydrate it, guys. We've discussed this 100 different times. Make sure you drink a lot of water before you go in for testing your red blood cells, because 9 out of 10 times you're not hydrated. Otherwise, you would have said it here in the message. So I went in, I drank a gallon of water or half a gallon of water, and that's sufficient. So methylene blue, the beneficial dose is 10 milligrams. But if you want to reduce your hematocrit, you would need to run 20 to 25 milligrams. And Telmisartan is the 40 milligrams is the dose where you manage your hematocrit. So it doesn't really go up more. It might come down 1 point. It kind of seems to stay around 50, 54. It doesn't go any higher, but it doesn't go any abnormally low either. Like if you make a dose of methylene blue, your hematocrit will come down rapidly. It doesn't happen with Telmisartan at 80 milligrams from what I've seen. Then you have an Enalapril, 2.5 milligrams, that brings it down pretty fast. If you want to destroy your red blood cells, the old ones, nattokinase, serrapeptase, lumbrokinase, the fibrinolytics, Now, I ran fibrin. What's that? Oh, it's a piece of chia seed. Whoops. Dinner crept up on me. Sorry, guys. So I ran the fibrinolytics for 6 weeks, 7 weeks. And my hematocrit didn't really come down that much, maybe 1 or 2 points, but I'm also running primobolan, right? So it's polypharmacy. Some things will increase hematocrit and some things will bring it down, and you kind of break even again. So I would give it, if you're only running methylene blue, up to 20, 25 milligrams, and then give it a month. Check again and go unhydrated, bro. Welcome to the Vigorous crew. Steve, I'm wondering how to dose injectable 5-amino-1-MQ. So your video, you recommended 50 to 150 milligrams per day orally. I said same for injectable. I'm 6'1", 225 pounds, 11% body fat. I'm adding it at 8%. I would say, based on my experience, again, I couldn't find any studies comparing the injectable, whether that's subQ, intravenous, intramuscular, or intraperitonially in animal studies versus oral administration. Orally, it seems to have a good bioavailability, or at least the highest one of any of the other investigated N-methyltransferase inhibitor or nicotinamide N-methyltransferase inhibitor, NMT inhibitors. Based on my experience, based on energy levels, 50 milligrams is about the same as 150 milligrams orally. So again, 50 milligrams injectable, 5-amino-1-MQ, subQ, about an hour pre-workout will give you the same energy levels as 50 milligrams orally pre-workout if you also take 50 milligrams 5-amino-1-MQ in the morning and evening. If you just take 50 milligrams 5-amino-1-MQ pre-workout, it seems that it doesn't really affect your energy levels during the workout when you're 8% or lower. I haven't added it in yet because I'm not 8% or lower. Yeah, so wait for the rest of your blood work. You say you hydrate consistently, but did you go and hydrate it when you were there? Steve, 33-year-old male on 15 milligrams test sip daily subQ. Geez, it's low, man. It's 100 milligrams a week. Total testosterone is top of the reference range. Estradiol also, hematocrit 51. I'm bloated. Achy and moody, LDL 141, HCl 33, creatinine 1.3. Also Reta, MOTS-C, BPC. Would you lower test first, adjust AI? Why would you be bloated, achy, and moody from the test when you're in the top of the reference range? It sounds like you have an issue with what you're eating that is bloating you and is hurting your joints. Like, to me, this sounds like you need to eat better. We have blood sugar fluctuations that's making you moody. Your joints ache because you maybe be allergic to something and thus you're inflamed. MOTS-C, BPC, and Reta all lower inflammation. I don't know what your body weight levels are, but I would look into your diet first, man. I mean, just because you're on Reta doesn't mean that you're eating right. And why would you lower the test when it's top of the reference range? Your estradiol is top of the reference range. It's totally fine. Unless your Reta, MOTS-C, and BPC is causing you issues. The only thing I would add in is ezetimibe because your LDL on 141, it sounds very high for somebody who's on such a low dose of test and Reta and MOTS-C, which should improve your lipid levels. Right? But MOTS-C improves your lipid levels by shuttling more triglycerides, and thus you need less carrier proteins in the form of lipoprotein, low-density lipoprotein. So look into your diet and add in the ezetimibe and do the food allergy test. Next week, you will see when you watch the gut distension discussion with Dean and Kurt for the Anabolic Roundtable, it will make a lot of sense. It's like, oh, wait a minute, didn't think about that. Watch that and before you change anything to your testosterone, because 100 milligrams, 105 milligrams a week, that's child's play, man. I know 15-year-olds who take more than Just picked up some SLU injectin and guaiacol from Digital Aminos. Guaiacol is poison, bro. I've mentioned that a million different times. So try the oral SLU-915 and throw the injectable SLU and guaiacol away because the guaiacol is poison. Glycol. Glycol is propylene glycol or guaiacol. It's all the same shit. MCT oil. and it might crash a little bit, but it just sucks. I think that Brandon told me from Adair State that he made injectable SLU that it doesn't crash and is 10 milligrams in MCT-ol. He added something in that I can't disclose, but it's safe. It's safe to consume and inject. It's just a food grade product. So he's working on that. I was running 500 tests, 100 Tren for 6 weeks per week, I'm assuming. Had signs of high estradiol until I checked bloods, and estradiol was 150 picograms per milliliter. Prolactin was 23 nanograms per milliliter. Swapped the 100 Tren for 200 Primo, feeling much better now. Estradiol 60. Yeah, but it's probably the Tren detecting as estradiol, bro. Right? Trenbolone detects as estradiol. So, yes, and of course, switching from Tren to Primo, obviously, with this much test, will drop your estradiol, but some of the Tren is detecting as estradiol, unless you did a high sensitivity test. But yeah, I were to assume that if your estradiol came down, your prolactin also comes down, even though Trenbolone can increase prolactin levels by activating the progesterone receptor. Tell me you didn't watch the molecular deep dive or my deep dive without telling me you watched those deep dives. You should know this shit by now. Dude, you have like, Moleculars was like 3 hours, 25 minutes, and then mine was over an hour. So you have like 5 hours of deep dive where you could have answered this question, Big Jake. Come on, bro. Thanks, Steve, for the abundance of information. We can make educated adjustments and keep our body dialed in. Yes, but you should also know that Trenbolone detects as estradiol, bro. Can you explain the difference in effects on growth hormone doses for TRT++, 30 years old, 200 tests, want to be okay jacked, 2 to 5 IUs range? Yeah, that's fine. I mean, what is the difference between 2 to 5? 2 IUs, it's cute, and 5 IUs is better, but you get more water retention. So you'd need to manage that. My buddy just got a letter and he's selling off his Reta stock. UBT 251 is the future. Yeah, so UBT 251 is basically the Novo Nordisk's answer to retatrutide. It also activates the GLP-1, GAP, and glucagon receptor. I haven't looked into it regarding the affinity and potency, and if you need to escalate the dose upwards to the point your wallet starts crying. Thank you, Eli Lilly. Maybe Novo Nordisk is a little bit more sustainability wise, I would say, with their products. So yeah, UBT 251, maybe that's going to be the next level replacement. But you know, if Eli Lilly starts suing people left and right and it turns into a success and everybody gets scared, then I'm sure Novo Nordisk is going to say, hey, wait a minute, Eli Lilly did it, now we're going to do it too. And then they come after all the Norditropin suppliers and the UBT 251 suppliers and whatever else, you know, their products are being sold on the underground market and gray area peptide website. So let's see. But yeah, UBT 251. Jack will let us know when it's available, and then I'll try it, and I'll tell you guys how it compares to retardetide. Currently, Anabolic with GH and T4 is getting low from sped up conversion. How much T4 is needed? 20 micrograms for the entire bulk. I would say 50 micrograms to start. Maybe 100 micrograms is needed. Most guys end up between 50 to 100 micrograms if their growth hormone dosages are over 2 to 4 IUs. Yeah, it's a bit of a range, but everybody's different. And, you know, we don't know how your thyroid is functioning, how much growth hormone you're taking, how much iodine, selenium, vitamin K you're taking, which contributes to thyroid function and thyroid production. So, yeah. 50 to 100 micrograms. Steve, you mentioned you were working on a few peptide blends with DA. It's done when it's done, guys. It's done when it's done. There's no timeline. Vigorous is launched. That's hands down the best injectable pre-workout you can take. 0.5 milliliter to 1 milliliter split bilaterally, or 0.5 milliliter to 1 milliliter bilaterally. So that's 1 milliliter to 2 milliliters total pre-workout. I'm crazy. I did 4 milliliters yesterday. 2 per quad, and my quads were bursting at the seams. You know, you have a really hard erection, and it's like, it almost hurts. Yeah, that's what's happening to my quads. So, yeah, if you want to push it 2 milliliters per side, It's a lot of ATP and AMP for vasodilation, but it's good stuff. The spot loss injection formula we're working on still. Might take some time. So it's asking about it. It's not going to make it faster. So it'll be done when it's done. And I still need to go through a couple iterations. So for now, I'm going to say 2036. And if it arrives any earlier, then be happy that it does. About everything else that we're working on, I'm not going to mention because you guys are impatient due to your TikTok brain. And then you literally DM me on Instagram about, every little update. And I don't have an update. So I'm going to keep it to myself until it's ready because you guys have no patience. Steve, my libido is good, but my erections quality is weak. I tried PCT for fertility, had a success, and erections were great, but on cycle they weren't. I need a lot more data, bro. Where was your progesterone levels? Where were your DHT levels? Where were your prolactin levels? What were you taking on cycle? Right? Come on, elaborate. Steve, you could only check 5 to 6 markers on a blood panel. What 6 markers would you check and why? Checking on prolactin, estradiol, cortisol, hematocrit. It really depends on what issues you suffer from. But dude, if you only have money for 6 markers, then this shit is not for you. You should stop taking juice and gear and peptides. Honestly, shame on you for even asking. You should check everything. Now, you're in Europe. I know it's fucked up over there. You guys pay a fuckload of taxes for illegal immigrants with their hand out. I get it. That's why I left. But no, you should check all the markers frequently. I'm serious. Stop fucking around. Check your complete blood count. That's a boatload of markers already. Check your lipids and not just HDL, LDL, triglycerides, and total cholesterol. Check your lipoprotein A, B, lipoprotein little a, VLDL. Check all that shit. Come on, dude. Check your kidney markers. Check your cystatin C. Check your kidney function and gamma GT. I can check 5 to 6 markers tomorrow because I checked 55 markers last weekend. And they're not going to change in a week. So what will I check? Lymphocyte, the neutrophil ratio. For that, I need the complete blood count, which is more than 5-6 markers. It's already 20 markers, but it's only $10. So why the fuck not? Right? I need the lymphocytes and neutrophils, which are part of the white blood cell count panel, which is part of the complete blood panel, which includes hematocrit, hemoglobin A1C, platelets, mean corpuscular volume, etc. I will check my high sensitivity C-reactive protein. I will check my ferritin levels. I will check my homocysteine levels, again, which I already checked last week. I know exactly what's off and what can improve in a short duration of time. I will check my estradiol levels because they're only 17. Thank you, Primo. Primo definitely crushes your estradiol more than DHT does. And then what else? Oh, that's about it. That's about it. So, no, go check everything. The fuck, man? What's wrong with you? Sorry, bro, but no. You're going to check everything. You bought a super chat and forgot to type. And now you still didn't type your question. John. Or John. Well, I'll be looking out for your username. LOC, if I took 1 milligram finasteride for 6 months 2 years ago, but the sexual sides are still present, no morning wood, bad erection, bad orgasm, 90, 40 years old, do you recommend DHT Enth and what dosage? Yeah, you also need to be on testosterone for that. So go check your hormone levels, go on TRT, add in maybe 25 to 50 milligrams DHT Enth after you dial in your TRT dose. Maybe add in HCG, 500 IOs 3 times per week. Maybe add in Smax and oxytocin. And stop watching so much porn and watch that video about the last and only video you need to watch to improve your libido, and watch the video on how to solve post-finasteride syndrome. Because, well, you took 1 milligram finasteride six months for 2 years ago, but is your DHT level still low? Right? Why would you take DHT Enth or propionate if you don't have a baseline reading? Maybe it's your testosterone levels that are low. Maybe it's allopregnanolone that is low. Can't really test for that. But 5 Hour Society also sells it. So you need to diagnose what is causing the bad erections now, 2 years later. If you're natty, maybe it's low testosterone. Of course, you're gonna have bad erections. You know, if you're in the U.S., you paid with dollars. You're in the U.S. Go to Merck Diagnostics. It's linked down below. They have the basic panel, $150. Add in all the markers that you need. It'll be done for $200. And otherwise, go to Merck Health. Have them diagnose you, see if you're androgen deficient. They can prescribe testosterone. That's all too costly for you. There's plenty of places for you to find testosterone right now. Vigorous.com. I got fucking articles on that shit. I'll send you in the right direction and what to pay attention to, and ebooks about it. So this sounds to be multifactorial, and you need to be proactive to get it addressed. Because just injecting DHT Enth without knowing what's going on and still being natty, I don't think it's going to work, bro. Time to stock up an RT20. Somebody knows how those packages come from China. China. What is this? RT20. TB10. SS10. You know? Ideal caloric deficit to build muscle after getting soft during the off season. And why up drugs as opposed to maintaining and tapering off as you cut? Ideal caloric deficit to build muscle. 10% caloric reductions. The drugs. I can't make sense of your question, bro. I don't know what the fuck you're asking me. After getting soft during the off season, reduce it with 10%. And as long as your strength is still going up, you can reduce it again by 10%. And as long as your strength is still going up and you have fullness, you can reduce it again by 10% until you're lean. And if your strength doesn't go up anymore, it kind of stalls, then you keep it there. And you keep the calories there so you can maintain your muscularity while dropping body fat. And if you still want to gain muscle at that sweet spot dose where fat loss is sustained, but strength and muscularity is maintained, then you up the drugs and start gaining size again while losing fat. All right, I hope that answers your question. How many days a week to come off TRT, the best tank on labs to get it prescribed? I just started TNT on my own. I have a video on this. Be on for 3 to 6 months before doing this. If you're on testosterone Enanthate, it will probably take about, or Cypionate probably takes 4 to 6 weeks. So I would stop it for 4 weeks. Do blood work somewhere where you can, out of pocket, anonymously. See how low your levels are. If your levels are not low enough to get a prescription, then wait. And if they're low enough, then go in to a lab. Or go to a lab that understands. Like, hey, I've been on self-prescribed TRT, and I want to go, the real prescription route and get it put on my, what is it, Medi-Aid, Medicare, whatever the fuck you have in America. Dude, if you go to Merck Health or any other TRT clinic and say, I want self-prescribed TRT, I just want legit shit, and I want doctor supervision, they'll be happy to enroll you, man. Of course, you already convinced yourself of TRT. They already know you're going to be a high-value customer because you're literally addicted to the testosterone. So they're going to help you. So, unless you're in Canada where that shit is not possible, but if you're in the US, and that's a US dollar, I'm assuming. Merrick Health, man. You don't need to come off shit. So I'm on 150 milligrams, 200 milligrams self-prescribed TRT. I want to pivot and become a patient. Please allow me to do blood work and allow me to enroll. And they'll happily take your business, dude. Testo Maximo, nice. Steve, I have a mitochondrial acid 5-ethyl ester and SANA available. I want to send you some. What's the best way to contact you? I don't just take drugs from random people, bro. I can get the mitochondrial acid 5-ethyl ester and SANA also. So don't worry. It's coming in. But I only allow people that I know and trust personally to send me shit because it's a fucked up planet. But I appreciate the offer, but I'm not taking drugs from random people. I don't. I got too much at stake. Yeah, it's third party tested. I don't care. And use it yourself and document your results in the description section or the comment section. I have access to this. Just give it some time. Going off years of juice, no textbook PCT for me. I want it in long steps. Compound ideas to be enhanced without completely shutting down my HPTA. Stay enhanced while getting my LH to reborn. Jeez, did you use Google Translate? You want your LH and FSH levels to come up? Growth hormone and Clen. That's the only anabolic agents you could use. What you should have done is buy the PCT ebook where I discussed that. Anavar, Trenbolone, testosterone undecanoate, they'll all shut down your LH and FSH. The only anabolic you can use, growth hormone, insulin, clenbuterol, and that's it. That's it. And for fuck's sake, do a PCT. Use the enclomiphene and the Nolvadex to start your HPTA axis, because otherwise it's going to take a year. And if you do you do your doo-doo, if you do a PCT, you can get your HPTA going again with normal LH and FSH levels within a month or two. So instead of suffering for a year, 2 or 3 months, and you should be good again. But no steroids. Ectosterone, testosterone. That's the only thing you can use, bro. And Clen, growth hormone, and insulin. Is it okay to mix testosterone and primobolan oils, both grapeseed oil and new sterile valve for convenience to pin daily? Proper ratio should be taken care of. Yes. Yes. This is how I do it and been advocating to do it for forever. So yes, t-shirt tan makes it hard to see. You mean this tan? And guys, I bought long sleeve, no joke. I bought long sleeves. But this tan is permanent, man. It's not going away. Look at this shit. Look at the separation, bro. Ugh. Yeah, it's unfortunately, that's how it's going to be. It's going to be fun at the Mr. Olympia again a couple of weeks from now, where I wear sleeveless. And then everybody's like, holy tan lines. Oh, well. Any advice after I tore my AC joint last year and the following surgery? Doctor had me on Diloaded, 8 milligrams, 30 milligrams morphine, not trying to come off. What can I do to mitigate the withdrawal? I'm not familiar with those drugs, but maybe look into Cerebrolysin. Cerebrolysin got a lot of people off their addiction, many kinds of different addictions. The protocol for most addictions is 10 milliliters before bed, while tapering the drugs down, which is the Diloaded and the morphine in your case, 10% reductions or 20 if you can stomach it. Again, every drug has a different tapering protocol. And then you run the Cerebrolysin for another month after the drugs are out of your system. Now, this is a very cookie cutter basic way to overcome withdrawal, whether that's kratom or opioids or painkillers, sleeping meds, or in this case, whatever the fuck. Well, morphine is a painkiller, obviously. But yeah, 10 milliliters Cerebrolysin before bed while tapering the drugs down. When the drugs are out, however long it's going to take, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 8 months. It's entirely up to your tolerance and how you can deal with the side effects, the withdrawal side effects. And then you continue Cerebrolysin for another 1 to 2 months after that, just to kind of reset your brain and make sure you don't get those feelings back. Will it work? I'm not entirely sure, but that's really the only thing I could recommend based on other protocols I've written for other kinds of drugs. Cerebrolysin does seem to be the way to kind of get off addictions, alcohol, kratom, right, opioids, etc. Steve just got back from DEXA scan, gained 6 pounds of lean mass. Nice. 250 milligrams test sip for 12 weeks and then 500 milligrams for 4 weeks. This is an average return. I don't know where you started at. Should I got harder in the gym? I mean, 6 pounds of lean mass is not much, but it depends on where you're starting from, how well you're training, how well you're eating, where you're in a caloric deficit. Um, there's so many variables, bro. If you're 5'4", which you don't look 5'4", but if you're 5'4", 6 pounds is a lot more muscle than when you're 6'4". I had 250 tests is okay, man. 500 tests. I'm running 300 tests, 600 or 300 tests, 300 primo, 600 total, and I'm already 225 pounds. But muscle memory is strong, So, 12 weeks, 16 weeks. Maybe next time you run 250 for like a year straight, and then see how much muscle you gain. Try looks a little bigger, and I'm really an hour behind. Yeah. Best and easiest post-finasteride recovery protocol without going on natty. You need to increase 5-alpha reductase enzyme activity. Off the top of my head, I totally forgot what increased it. Besides NAD+, because you need NAD+, NADP, NADPH as an electron donor in the conversion of testosterone into dihydrotestosterone in the 3 isoforms of 5-alpha reductase. So that's a cofactor, basically. You can supplement with 1,000 milligrams nicotinamide mononucleotide or 1,000 milligrams nicotinamide riboside per day, or inject 20 milligrams NAD+ SubQ daily. That all seems to work pretty similarly. And there were a couple supplements that increased 5-alpha reductase enzyme activity. And if your estradiol levels are high, then estradiol might be blunting the potential of 5-alpha reductase, and vice versa. That's why you can't run DHT too long, because then you downregulate aromatase enzyme function. That's why you do 6 weeks, 8 weeks maximum, and then you kind of need to come down. Like you see it now, my estradiol was kind of at the top of the reference range after 5 weeks DHT, and I'm sure during those 5 weeks of DHT Enanthate, my aromatase enzyme activity was downregulated. DHT is still in my system by the time I do blood work on primo, and a primo is really suppressing aromatase enzyme activity, and then my estrogen is 16. And that's pretty low, Not that I feel that my joints are hurting, but I'd rather have it a little bit higher, so my HDL is higher, my SHBG is higher, which is already ruined by the primo. So look for supplements that increase 5-alpha reductase enzyme activity, lower your aromatase enzyme activity or expression or estrogen levels. I have videos on this. And again, it's in the post-finasteride syndrome video that I made. So watch those 2 videos, and then you don't unnatty yourself. You just use supplements to kind of optimize your hormone balance. S1000, hopefully that's S1000RR. If you're going to go fast, you got to go fast. 2010 tests weekly, daily SubQ, 350 IUs, HCG Monday, Wednesday, Friday, total testosterone 1,500 nanograms per deciliter. Sounds like that's the top of the detectable reference range. You're probably higher than that. Estradiol 76. Waiting on sensitive estradiol takes 2 to 3 weeks. No symptoms. Just worry about gyno. Add aromasin preemptively. Yeah, that's what I would do. 6.25 milligrams Monday, Wednesday, Friday with your HCG injections. So you don't forget, and then your estradiol should be 50, 45, and then sensitive will be maybe 30% less. But yeah, it's a little bit on the high side. Could cause gyno. Steve, what do you think? My prep stack, 10 weeks out, 200 tests, 400 masteron, 34 daily, Matsi 1 milligram, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, SLU-PP-332, 1 milligram daily. Going to add in Reta in a couple weeks. Why are you adding in Reta towards the tail end when you need to be taking it out 2 weeks before the show? Otherwise, carb loading will not be sufficient. Your cycle sounds very low for somebody who's competing. Do you want to step on stage to show, or do you want to win? Yeah, I hate to say it, but most people run double that. At least the guys that want to win. So I'm not trying to push drugs on you. If you look good on 200 tests, 400 masteron, and 210 milligrams anavar, then by all means do it. But most guys run more than this. MOTS-C, 1 milligram, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, SLU-PP-332, 1 milligram daily. That's totally fine. Add the Reta in now because you need to take it out 2 to 3 weeks before, as we'll discuss in the gut prevention anabolic roundtable, because it will distend your stomach and make carb loading harder, and then you have a bubble gut on stage. And then the lack of testosterone will make you look like Obelisk or Dave Palumbo. For the guys who are not familiar with French comics. 1-800-6. Yes. Got gyno surgery 4 days ago using growth hormone, BPC, TB500, GSK copper. Would you recommend anything else? Would MOTS-C be a good option? No, MOTS-C and SS31 you should have done before the surgery, but you can always add it in later, right? It's good advised to improve mitochondrial function before surgery, because mitochondria contribute heavily to the energy demands that the cells are going to require after you start slicing into your body with needles and scalps and stuff and taking stuff out. So I would add in the KPV as another anti-inflammatory. Maybe look into some topical BPC, TB500 and GSK copper, whether that's from Disguised Alpha or Dare State or Leo Research Group, right? It's all coming from Brandon anyway. So he's the one who's making all those topicals. You rub that on the area where you have the incisions. I wish I did that for my gyno surgery, but I had the injectable version. I did that for my knee surgery, and that healed beautifully. So you can remove the incision scars quite well with topical BPC, TB500, and GHK copper. KPV doesn't really do much in that picture. GH is good. Anavar for collagen synthesis. MOTS-C 1 milligram per day, 2 to 5 milligrams SS31 to kind of protect the mitochondria, because especially in that area, they're working on overdrive to supply ATP for the energy demand needed for recovery. Collagen synthesis, right? Go back a couple live streams and look into the pinned comment. My entire protocol from surgery recovery is there. Yeah. I'm planning to do a 4-day water fast. Would you recommend using, what would you recommend using during the fast to help maximize fat loss and enhance the overall benefits of fasting? I would still eat a little bit of vegetables so you can detox, because if you don't eat vegetables, the enterohepatic recirculation absorbs or reabsorbs all of the bile acids that you're trying to excrete all the toxins, right? So eat some salad or something. That's what I did. Water fast many times, and I always felt not clean until I started adding in the vegetables, like the salad vegetables has 100 calories over the day. It's negligible. You probably get more calories from the fish oil supplements and the ubiquinol, all the fat soluble vitamins that you're taking over the day. So have that first and foremost. It will help you detox. It will bind to all of the bile acids with all of the toxins. Add in some TUDCA, add in some, right? Your regular supplement protocol should still be in there, because you're not getting any of the micronutrients from food, obviously. You're not just only not getting calories, but also not getting the micronutrients. So you need a multivitamin, you need vitamin D3, you need vitamin K, you need magnesium, you need some salt, right? Because otherwise you're going to go flat. So you can eat pickles, 2 pickles per salad, 3 times per day. That's 6 pickles. You got your electrolyte intake covered, basically. And then whatever fucking fat burners you want to leverage. There's millions of them, all right? Clen, mirabegron, ephedrine, albuterol, salbutamol. You can leverage those for the beta adrenergic receptors. You can leverage SLU-PP-332 or 915 to boost mitochondrial function. MOTS-C to help with that. SS31 Humanin doesn't really do anything for fat loss. But if you add in the ATX, then obviously you need to protect your mitochondria and yourself from oxidative stress. So you add the SS31 and the Humanin in. If you want to maximize fat loss, walk around the whole day while using these fat burners, and you'll drop fat like crazy. Yeah, I need to do it soon too. Maybe middle week of September. When was the last time? The last time I did it before the surgery. before I tore my quad. It's been more than 3 months. I think it was April or May or something like that. Yeah, maybe middle of September before I go to the Olympia and then get this lower back in. Eli Lilly announcement is that Quark has been hired to sell on black market and be seen. Fuck, Quark would run the Eli Lilly like if he would hire his fucking uncle with the moon, get some armaments, fucking start nuking, you know, all these peptide websites from orbit. Yeah, you need medical monitoring. So I'm gonna lose my voice now, right? What do you think, Steve? My prep stack? Yeah, okay, we already answered this. I'm like an hour behind. All right, Joshua's got it covered. Jesus fuck, man! 3 times in a row. Do you want me to ban you? How long can one safely take MOTS-c, SS31, SLU-PP-915, and Reta together? We don't know. There's no longitudinal data besides Retatrutide. Retatrutide was safe up until 2 years, 24 months at the maximum dose. Don't quote me on this. It's been a while since I researched it. 3.5 milligrams is not the maximum dose. It's not even the entry-level dose. Right? That's not this is not the dosage that you're looking for. These are not the dosages that you're looking for. Eli Lilly wants you to use at least 4 milligrams Reta, and at 4 milligrams Reta, side effects were minimum, and it was very sustainable. MOTS-c, no human data besides that training increases MOTS-c levels. SS31, I think. Actually, I have notes. Fuck it. SS31, I can't remember if it was longer than 12 weeks on the human clinical data, which all got abandoned because every time they want to investigate something on SS31, then it's like, oh, well, it wasn't effective, and I'll go on to the next same thing besides Bart syndrome. What those fuckers need to do is investigate SS31 as a kidney protecting agent, which I think is where it really shines. I mean, it protects against oxidative stress and accumulates in the kidneys predominantly. SS31 can even protect your mouth and your lungs from smoking and cigar damage. So guess what? Every time I have a cigar, 5 milligrams SS31. SubQ right before I light up. SLU-PP-332, no human data. So I would say Reta is safe long term, up to 24 months, I think. Could be 48 months now. I haven't looked into the latest data. And the rest, we don't know. We don't know. Use at your own discretion and your risk tolerance. Quick protocol tips for dealing with a developing shoulder impingement. Not chronic yet, only flares up after push days. I'm taking it light recently. Maybe do an MRI on it, see what structurally is going on in there. It sucks. Takes an hour, maybe an hour and a half. They can't get a clear image. And then see if you can unpinge yourself by doing some deep tissue massage therapy. Like it could be that you have like some bone spurts or cartilage that's worn down, and that's kind of aggravating the nerve, causing the impingement, or it's radiating. And don't wait with this, because before you know it, you have no tricep. Right? I have no calf on the left side, but I also have no quad on the left side. So now I have like a big leg, a medium leg, and a tiny leg. But at least the medium leg is keeping my wife happy. And I have like an appendage, it's like flopping around. Actually, I can walk stairs now, so that's good news. But don't wait with this. Get it diagnosed, see what's going on, see if you can do some sort of treatment, not injections, but not injections. Some massage therapy, cupping, whatever the fuck you need to do. And again, if it's bone spurts, maybe they need to go in there and they need to take that out, because the longer they stay in there, they crystallize, they get bigger, they get sharper, and they start tearing your fucking shit apart. And it could radiate down to the nerve, and then you can't even use your arm anymore. So yeah, I'm taking it easy now, but taking it easy for 2 years. I mean, I took it easy on my quads also, and I still tore my quad. So should I stop training? No, but maybe you should get it diagnosed and see what you can do preventatively before it gets any worse. 1.5 grams testosterone per week. Thoughts on adding 300 grams masterone? Yeah, that's cute. At this point, I would rather add in the DHT. I think masterone is going to be a thing of the past. I think a lot of people are going to switch to DHT. All the people that I talked to that tried DHT said it's more anabolic than mask, better cosmetic appearance than mask, less dry and aging and weathered looking. And it's bioidentical. So you actually I felt good on that shit, man. I had a good mood. I think test, DHT, and Ment, I think that's going to be a great stack. Right? And they've all been studied in the context of humans, TRT wise, and well documented, like even Ment. Primo, after 2 weeks, I'm already irritable, as you can tell from how I'm answering these questions. Fuck. I can really feel the shift. First week, DHT to Primo, I'm still good. And second week, I'm like, maybe it's because my estrogen dropped, from, what was it, 37 to 16. Maybe that's it. But I'm already pissy, dude, and impatient. So, masterone, forget about it. Primo is available now. DHT, Enanthate, and propionate is available. Just take that. Add in 300 DHT and tell us how you feel. I think it's going to be a much better addition than masterone. I mean, look at all the guys that use masterone. Do you want to look like those guys? Fuck, dude. What's the lowest effective dose of Anavar? 2.5 milligrams. I did 2 tests same day. Non-sedative estradiol came back 591. What? Really? That sounds like it was caused by Tren. Did the super chats posted pre-live and not post? Yeah, sometimes that happens. If you post it too early. So this is the first post that I have from Joshua, and that was it was in the afternoon, so 3 hours after I posted the live. I usually post it 12 hours before we go live, so it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I go 12 o'clock at midnight, and this is 3 hours and 30 minutes afterwards. So if you posted it earlier, then yeah, sometimes StreamYard or even YouTube just removes those questions. So I would do it on the live stream, man. Let me scroll down. Let's see what your username was. Alexis. Yeah, yours the only comment I can find. Blame the system, man. Where are we? Steve, for daily administrations of testosterone, is there any benefit or drawbacks with daily SubQ versus daily IM? Daily SubQ, the drawback is that you create like oily little fat barbels underneath the skin because it takes longer to metabolize the injection depot oil from the injection site, the injection depot. So it takes longer to metabolize the oil away because the lipases are less active in the subcutaneous space, even though it's adipose tissue. You would think that there's more lipases there, but the lipases are in the fat cells, not outside. You're not injecting into the fat cells, okay? And intramuscularly, there's more lipases, so you break down the injection oil faster. The difference is that with SubQ, because it breaks down faster, and you have this oily marble that stays in place, serum levels are more stable, but also a little bit less than intramuscular administrations. With daily intramuscular, you have stable serum levels, but it still fluctuates and you still get some peaks. With daily SubQ, it's just flatline, basically. So it depends on what you want. And with the daily intramuscular injections, obviously, you get scar tissue into your skeletal muscle. And within the first decade of injections, it's not really an issue. But after a decade of glute shots or shots all over the place, you have like all this little scar tissue. And scar tissue is not very functional And trust me, I got a lot of scar tissue on my glutes and a lot of scar tissue on my knee now from surgeries and injections. And at one point, it just starts to wear on you, and your body is, less capable to contract a muscle because it's fucked. So honestly, I think from all the glute shots that I did, my knee started to hurt. And then eventually I tore my quad, obviously. They said from the glute shots, maybe, could be. You just, yeah, I don't know. Should be a study on this shit. Word on the street is Steve called. No, I would that I don't do, man. I mean, they fucked up their affiliate program enough as it is, and they're losing, like a lot of people moved over to Disguised Alpha, and cumulatively we're generating so much money for Disguised Alpha that it's all coming out of mono amino sales, because the sales at the other companies didn't go down at all. The other affiliates didn't go down as all. So yeah, but yeah, MA fucked up. I think they're struggling hard enough as it is. Karma's a bitch, bro. How would you combine IGF-1 LR3 with genotropin? Currently planning 3 IU's growth hormone before bed and 150 micrograms IGF-1 LR3 pre-workout. Bumped it up to 500 micrograms. 1 vial a day, man. Like all this low dose IGF-1 LR3. Maybe if you're a genetic freak on a fuckload of Tren and you have high IGF-1 receptor sensitivity, sure. But if you're not a freak on high dose Trenbolone, then I would do the IGF-1 higher and get a baseline of your IGF-1 levels based on the 3 IU's genotropin that you're taking, so you know how it's affecting your natural IGF-1 production, and then you see how much you need to supplement on top of that. But most people use a vial of IGF-1 LR3 before it starts to get fun. I used 2 milligrams Increlex, and that was, or 2 vials IGF-1 LR3. And that was fucking, then you start mutating. And unfortunately, that costs you like $50 to $100 per workout. Well, you think this shit was going to be cheap? Thoughts on doing a 148 water fast a week on a cut for 12 weeks in place of a fat burner like Clen? Is there more potential for muscle loss? You don't lose any muscle when you're fasting. You lose glycogen. But yeah, 5.5 days. I've done it many times, man. As long as you're on a lower TRT, you're fine. Will you lose fullness? Yes. Will you lose strength? No. I never lost strength after a fast. Maybe you get 1 rep less the next week or 2 reps less the next week on your workouts because you also took a week off, right? So you lose that momentum. But go for it, man. Maybe start the cut 12 weeks out to really get you in that fat burning mode with a 5.5 day fast, and then fuck, throw in the Clen, dude. You're already throw in all the fat burners you can stomach. Might as well maximize it because it's gonna suck anyway. It's gonna suck. So might as well throw in the fat burners and optimize all the fat loss you can get out of that 148-hour fast. Stay hydrated to make sure you get your micronutrients and your vegetables in, and then you should be fine. Like, I can't run Clen for the life of me anymore unless I fast. Then I can run 80 micrograms, no problem. I stopped the day before. I stopped the fast so that Clen is completely metabolized. And then as soon as I add in a little bit of food, as soon as I have food with Clen, my heart rate goes sky high. But when I'm fasting, my heart rate is totally normal, slightly elevated. But with food and Clen, holy shit, man, no way. Even 20 micrograms, can't do it. Started training 140 milligrams a week, but titrated up to 600, 0 sides. And my God, I saw, oh, your train is bullshit. It's fake. I saw Molecular lose 20 pounds when he went way up, which is about what I need to lose. I have 4 weeks left. Should I push to 1,000? No, you should push your time frame up to 10 weeks. This is completely the wrong way to approach it. I have 4 weeks left. I'm going to use 1,000 milligrams of Tren. Why don't you use other fat burners that are less invasive to your health? We literally discussed a million of them just before. So how about you take the Tren out or keep it at 600? If you have 4 weeks left, just diet harder, bro. But I would do 150 milligrams per week of Tren for 8 weeks maximum and leverage all the other fat burners and just throw them in and out because there's so many out there nowadays. I had the 4 weeks on ATX 304, and then you maybe use Glen for 2 weeks, and then 1 or 2 weeks of BAM 15. I would rather do that than stand Tren at 1,000 milligrams for a very long time. Hey, Steroid Dad, just finished prejudging and now watching the stream for a bit. How's everybody doing? Who look good? Did John Jewett looks good? Anyways, what's the best way to stay lean post-show for long enough to get healthy and start another hard cycle while remaining in rebound mode? Well, don't eat too much. Because obviously you leverage all the drugs for the show and you need to get healthy. So besides testosterone and maybe SLU-PP-915 mod C, I would take everything out. But you also want to have a rebound. So no more than 1 milligram mod C, no more than 1 milligram SLU-PP-332, just to help with mitochondrial function, but not boost it up to the point where you're in this perpetual fat loss mode. Because you need to add a little bit of fat and intramuscular triglycerides for anabolism to really come back and get your rebound going. And then you do the same thing which you did with your diet, but in reverse. So whatever diet you were following, you follow it in reverse with the 10% or whatever caloric adjustments you made. Going down, you make the same caloric adjustments going up, for example. All right? Don't go on a glory bulk. Gram test, unless you use the aromatase inhibitors, right? The gram test then is fine for 4 weeks, just to kind of get your estrogen back. Because aromatase enzyme activity in 4% body fat is, and the primo and the mastro and whatever else is still in your system, crushing your aromatase enzyme activity. So if you were my client and I have access to your blood work and I know exactly what diet you were doing and which drugs you were taking, even though I haven't done a prep in fucking 7 years, 2019, pre-COVID was the last time, when I was still coaching people for contest prep, assuming their blood work was acceptable, not too bad. Based on my experience, maybe not. They're like, holy shit. I'm like, no, don't worry, you're going to be okay. Increase the food a little bit, take all the contest drugs out, keep the test nice and high, about 50% of their contest cycle. So the contest cycle is what, 2,000 milligrams. You drop it to 1,000 milligrams a test for as long as they need to restore their estrogen levels, because estrogen levels leading into the show in many cases it's kind of bottomed out, right? To minimize the water retention, and especially for the guys that were not 100% in shape, you kind of need to do that. So make a dose of Winstrol and make a dose of the aromatase inhibitors, so you can get nice and dry to compensate for the 2% of body fat that you didn't lose because you cheated on your diet without telling me. But if you're absolutely shredded and you did crush your estradiol levels, then you don't need to make a dose of testosterone post-show because your estradiol levels were still in range. So again, it's really context dependent, bro. But minimize the drugs so you can get healthy and slowly increase the food. For a recovering underweight 5'4" girl. Oh, wow. We have a female in the chat. Welcome to the Vigorous crew. I was 90 pounds, now 105. I did those dumbbells today. More than that, more than 105. Would 2 AUs of Serostim be more harmful than beneficial? We just like MK677 as well, MK677 or 677 better in general. MK777, I'm not sold about that. I've heard a couple people rave about it, that it increase your appetite less and allegedly increases growth hormone more, but I'm not convinced on it. MK677 has a good track record. And if you're chronically underweight and you have eating issues, then MK677 might be the drug that gets you in that buffet mode. Now, chronically underweight probably also means chronically underthyroid or chronically poor metabolism. That means if you add in 10 milligrams, 20 milligrams MK677, and for you, I would start low, build your way up, 10 milligrams pre-bed, see what happens. If your metabolism can't keep up with your appetite, then you're going to be a 5'4" BBL galore. Maybe that's what you want, but it will not only be a BBL in your butt, it will be in your face and in your thighs. And then you take yourself off the market. Well, there's always a market for something, right? But, 105 pounds sounds better than 150 pounds for 5'4". So Serostem is expensive and difficult to get. I would start with MK677, 10 milligrams before bed. Relearn how to eat properly. So don't go eating cheesecakes and ice cream and whatever, because now your appetite goes up and you're like, oh, fuck. Now you can eat. Now you just eat more of the healthy food, right? And if you're underweight for a medical condition, then maybe check your thyroid, check your hormone levels, check everything. Because if your hormone levels, your hormone balance, your thyroid function is still affected from being underweight, then the food might not be going to the right places and mess with your lipids, your insulin levels, hemoglobin A1C, fasting insulin levels. So take it easy. Take it easy. 5'4", 105 pounds. I would maybe gain under 10 pounds and see how you look. And again, make sure you go to the gym, because adding in a little bit of muscle at 5'4", it's going to look good. And document that journey on Instagram. Former underweight girl, 5'4", from 78 or from 87 to 105 to 115, 120 maybe. Now jack to the gills. I think you're going to get a lot of views. All right. Driving to Bosnia. Watch out for those Serbians, man. Not going to the gym for 6 weeks due to surgery. Anything I could do to limit fat gain and retain as much muscle as possible. Just chill out, man. Just chill out. And if you're using all the peptides to recover from the gyno surgery, you'll be back in the gym in 2 weeks, like I was. I was out of the gym for 2 weeks. I started training lower body, and I trained upper body after 4 weeks. So it's going to go a lot faster with the peptides and the growth hormone and everything else. So Retatrutide, a good diet, TRT, and the Anavar and the growth hormone that you're taking, and just play video games like I did. So you're too busy thinking about food. Yeah, I'm full, man. I got enough affiliates as it is. But you can send me a proposal. But I get proposals literally every day from peptide companies. And at this point, I only work with people that I met personally. So we can talk at the Mr. Olympia. I'll be there. But the proposal, the offer needs to be really good. I need to see third-party testing consistently. And then, the people that I work with, I don't think you're going to get much sales from them. I'm kind of covered, man. Granted, I'm a nurse and not a pussy. Poppy Steve, looking to run 8 weeks, growth hormone 3 AUs, test 375, mass 400, Tren 50, NPP 300, 8 weeks, and then 8 weeks. All right. Adding the DHB, curious on your thought switching NPP to DHB. I've never used DHB. And it doesn't make sense to run test, masterone, Tren, and NPP. I would rather run test, masterone, MPP, and then test DHB and Tren. Test masterone MPP so you don't get too bloated, and then test DHB and Tren so you can get fucking shredded and diced. That sounds better to me, bro. Yeah. I mean, I combined Tren, NPP, and Mint, and it was fun, but I already did my gyno surgery. So in your case, you look pretty lean in your avatar. I would do test 375, Masteron 400, MPP 300, and then 8 weeks for that, and then switching to test 375, 400 mass, or test 375, 300 DHB, 50 milligrams of Tren. Yeah, so you have one compound to one base, testosterone, either Masteron or DHB to manipulate your estrogen levels, and one progestogenic compound for additional anabolism and less side effects from potential estrogenic surging or progestogenic signaling because you have the Masteron or the DHB in there. Yeah, Cerebrolysin 10 milliliters intramuscularly. SubQ, you can do 10 milliliters SubQ. You could do IV if you want, but that daily, it's gonna be annoying. So just intramuscular. Cerebrolysin, hands down, it's the smoothest injection you'll ever do in your life. So get like a 29 gauge, 1 inch, 1.5 inch. You won't even feel a thing. No pip, no nothing. If anything, it literally feels like you're injecting butter. That's how smooth it is. Wait a minute. Is this the same person? Now asking about EQ and tests. I'm paying $20. You're already a member. What are you doing? So I guess you asked for your girl, who's an underweight girl trying to bulk up. In that case, you should have formulated your question, but I could have put you on a protocol that made her horny as fuck. But hey, you fucked up. My Uncle Steve, the caring Uncle Steve, answered that question, right? The guy that has a wife and a daughter. The big brother answer you got. But if you asked it a bro, man, 105 pounds? Fuck yeah. Getting up to 115, you would have gotten a completely different answer. But you fucked up. Took the EQ test, but tried to make up for the low EQ with 500 IUs, HCG 3 times a week, now realizing the HCG would have make up for the hair issues for low E2. Yeah, it would, because you're raising your estradiol levels with HCG. Is that right, or should HCG have helped? Yeah, HCG will help because estradiol will go up, and that would help with potential hair issues. Unless you're that underweight girl that is taking HCG and testing EQ. Yeah. I wonder why I'm not getting any weight. Guys, there's 350 people here. I'm gonna check if there's 350 likes. If there's not 350 likes, then I'm stopping. 99. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Come on, go forward and make it so. How difficult is it to like the live stream? Thoughts on Eloralintide for test bloat? I don't know. Ask Molecular. But that's the mineralocorticoid receptor blocker, right? I would rather add in empagliflozin and DHT. I've never used it. Yeah, already answered this. During a bulk, what dose of testosterone should it be on? How about during a cut? I don't know, bro. Like, how much food are you eating? How heavy are you lifting? Start low, build your way up. I can't give a blanket answer. Think about tirzepatide instead of retatrutide for contest prep. Yeah, tirzepatide blunts your appetite more, but you get less of a fat burning or fat liberating effect of retatrutide, because retatrutide has a glucagon receptor agonism and tirzepatide does not, even though the GIP agonism is more potent than retatrutide on a milligram per milligram basis. And most people end up at a higher milligram dose on retatrutide versus tirzepatide to get the same level of appetite suppression, resulting in more fat loss because you get additional glucagon receptor agonism in a much higher dose, obviously. So hire a coach, bro. Hire a coach. Steve, got a date night tomorrow trying to decide between Spider-Man or the Odyssey. Did you get a chance to see it? I haven't seen it, bro. I think Spider-Man would be better because that has a little bit of a love story in there. And the Odyssey, I don't think there's any love. There might be a little bit of love in the beginning. And then he gets home 3.5 hours later. But with Spider-Man, it's yeah, you got a date night, right? And honestly, like, why would you procrastinate getting late for an extra hour? Because the Odyssey is an hour longer, so you can watch Spider-Man 2 hours 20 minutes, right? 2 hours, and then better mood, seal the deal. Whereas with the Odyssey, dude, by the end of it, you're probably dead tired. So this is how I would approach it if I was still single and going on a date night and looking to close a deal. I would go watch Spider-Man, not the Odyssey. I would go watch Odyssey with my bros and a couple stamps. Because the stamps last 12 hours. Spider-Man is if he's stupid, and Odyssey if she's a goth. Yeah, I didn't think about that, but Joshua knows. But we don't really have goths here in Thailand. We have a lot of stupid women. I'm gonna get my visa canceled. $10 milliliters Cerebrolysin, $70 a day. Hey, this guy's Alpha is going to start selling it. I don't think it's going to be $70 per ampule, man. Bro, I already answered it. You just got to wait because there's a million questions. Look at the time that I'm answering the questions. But I'll take you $20. I already answered it. Use the timestamps. You lost $20 because you're impatient. I'll take your $20 and spend it on cheesecake. Thank you very much. ATX 304 before bed. I feel tired during the day. When I take it in the morning, switch to before bed, and the lethargy seems to wear off by the morning. Just wondering if I'm missing out on the benefits. No, you'll still get all of the fat loss benefits. If anything, it's probably better because, well, you might impair your sleep quality, obviously, because it raises your core temperature a little bit. But yeah, while it's active, it's actively burning more calories while sleeping, which might ruin your sleep quality if your core temperature is also elevated. So you need your core temperature to come down a little bit for good sleep quality. But then you're less lethargic during the day from the ATX, but you might be more lethargic during the day from impaired sleep quality. You can't win, right? You can't win. Put a fan on the foothead of your bed, let it blow over you, and then you can cool down a little bit. Yeah, I took 50 milligrams in the morning, 50 milligrams in the evening, alongside 50 milligrams SLU-PP-332 to remove the lethargy, and that synergy, that felt illegal. Fat loss from SLU and ATX felt illegal. I also almost want to run it again, but let's do some blood work first. I mentioned this in the beginning. So 20 milligrams 915 seems to be about as potent as 100 milligrams 332 when taken orally. What dose are you on? All the doses. At which test dose will you say it's necessary to start winning daily rather pinning? All I do is win, no matter what. All I do is win. Cute. Where's the auto-tune function? Pinning daily rather than 3 times a week. For example, do you think 3 times a week is still fine for 600 tests? Yeah, man, that's fine. 200 milligrams per injection, 1 milliliter each, or 0.8 if it's Enanthate. 200 milligrams for 1 milliliter testosterone cypionate, or 0.8 200 milligrams, 0.8 milliliters testosterone Enanthate, because it's 250 milligrams in most cases, or 300 milligrams if you're shopping at the sources and you get that high concentration MCT oil, good old 300 milligrams for 1 milliliter testosterone Enanthate. Anyway, you need to pin more often if you go over 3 milliliters per injection site, or if you want to keep your serum levels more stable. But I pin 3 times a week right now, but all my formulations are in castor oil, which disperse from the injection depot slowly. So I take 300 tests, 1 ampule Bayer testosterone, 3 ampules Bayer Rimabolin. Yes, I still have some. Last batch produced a couple years back. Thank you, Adrian Tunn. You're the man. Yeah, look at these cannons, bro. Primo induced. Oh, it's probably 375. Maybe that's why my estradiol came down so much. 312.5 test, 375 primo. Bayer ampules are overfilled. So I'm on a whopping 312.5, 375, 687.5. Dude, I'm on like 12% more than I'm letting you guys on. 14.6%. I'm such a filthy liar, man. Yeah. I'm 14.6% off. Well, it's not as much off as the Liver King or my Cohern. Those guys are really off. Only take TRT. Yeah, sure you do. Sure you do. So yeah, you could pin 100 milligrams per day and the rest on Sunday, just like the Christian God intended, and for similar effects, maybe a little bit more stable serum levels. But if it works, man. Chill out. Steve went to TRT clinic, 140 test SIP and a DHEA blend with gonadorelin, got boobs and hair shreds, and clomiphene was refused. No cold turkey. What can I do? Go with a better clinic like Merrick Health, or source the clomiphene yourself, or the test SIP yourself, or DHEA yourself, and make sure you do your blood work, because if you got boobs and your hair was shredding, then obviously you aromatize a lot and 5-alpha reduce a lot. And maybe that's because your body fat levels are too high. You're missing some, of the nutrients that can control aromatization and 5-alpha reductase activity. So it sounds to me that you need guidance, and Merrick Health would be the perfect place to offer you that guidance. Because on 140 tests and DHEA, you get all these issues, then you might not be in the best state of health. So address that first. Merrick Health would do that. Code Vigorous for 10% off. Right? Do your blood work there. See if you're a candidate for a proper protocol, which you probably are. You were already on it. But not every TRT clinic is the same, man. Gonadorelin doesn't work unless you take it intranasally multiple times per day. Same as Kisspeptin 10. Injectable gonadorelin, Kisspeptin 10 doesn't do shit. You literally need to snort it into the brainstem. Oh, it's probably talking about ATX. Yeah, 200 milligrams per day is way too much, man. I did it too. It's you feel like shit. All right, I think I'm way behind, so I'm gonna close off the super chats for now, and then see if we can catch back up. Banners. All right, guys, it's right below here. Don't be stubborn. Don't start posting. I have about 25 minutes left, and then I would like to go to bed because tomorrow it's date day, and I got to do some blood work. No more super chats beyond this point. I will take your money, bro. There you go. Here. It's on the screen. No more super chats. Beyond this point, I will take your fucking money, bro. So you can super chat all you want, but it doesn't guarantee an answer. So if you want to throw some money at me like I'm a stripper, I don't mind. All right? Shake it, baby. But I really don't mind. But it doesn't guarantee an answer. Hey, brother Steve, I'm getting post-injection pain from test 300 milligrams per milliliter. No problem with SIP from TRT clinic, but limited to 200 milligrams per week. Is this normal? Only 2 weeks on test E. Maybe you don't agree with the ester. That happens also. Some people don't agree with the Enanthate ester. So if SIP worked for you, keep it at SIP. Or if you want 300 milligrams, then inject 1.5 milliliters of cypionate instead of 1 milliliter testosterone enanthate. And maybe they brewed it with more solvents, but testosterone enanthate and MCT oil should hold totally fine at 300 milligrams for 1 milliliter, same as 250 milligrams testosterone cypionate and MCT oil per milliliter. It's totally fine. So ask the TRT clinic what other solvents or benzoate or benzoyl alcohol or ethyl oleate or whatever else they put in there, to see if there's an issue there. Maybe they changed from grapeseed oil cypionate to MCT oil enanthate because of higher solvency, allowing for more milligrams. And maybe it's the MCT oil that you're having issues with. That some people get issues with MCT oil because it disperses so fast, or the MCT oil is just not compliant with their physiology, basically. Even though it's basically bioidentical. It's medium chain triglycerides, bro. It doesn't matter if it comes from coconut or not. So yeah, ask how they brew it. What are the solvents? What is the carrier oil? Is there a change in benzoate, benzo alcohol? Did they secretly mix in a little bit of ethyl oleate, which in a TRT clinic wouldn't do? But you never know, man. You never know. Maybe they get finished products from China and repackage. I've seen worse. Negatively impactful on blood markers with high dose Anavar 50 to 100 milligrams for 10 days B consecutively. HDL will be crushed, SSBG will be crushed, LDL will come up, but it takes usually a little bit longer than the potential of crushing your HDL. Liver enzymes will be elevated. And in 10 days, you will not gain so much muscle. On high dose Anavar, doesn't matter how much Anavar you run, in 10 days, how much muscle can you gain? And if you're using Anavar for cosmetic purposes, then I would rather do 10 days on Winstrol at 100 milligrams, because that will dry you out and lean you out and change your appearance more than a similar dose of Anavar for the same amount of negligible amount of muscle tissue gained. But the Winstrol will fuck your HDL and SHBG more. I think liver enzymes is about the same. So if it's purely for cosmetic purposes, looks maxing piece of shit, then Winstrol over Anavar. Yeah, your joints will not be happy. I'm experiencing soft erections, premature ejaculation, going soft immediately. Estradiol came back at 81. How much anastrozole should I take? Well, bring your estradiol down. And how much tests you're taking? Are you natural? I need more data. I need more data. Simon, I'll look out for your... I need more data. You know? This is way more complicated than the information that you're giving me. After 5 years on TRT, if I come off and use fertility protocol like HCG Clomid, is sperm recovery pretty much guaranteed, or is there a real chance? No, it's pretty much guaranteed. Watch the 2.5 hour deep dive on improving your fertility post TRT. Everything, literally everything, is explained. I get messages almost every week of guys getting their partner pregnant after 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, or maybe ending up at IVF, but using that protocol to improve their fertility parameters. I have not heard a single instance of a guy who watched the 2.5 hour fertility protocol video and was unsuccessful in restoring their fertility parameters. Now, if you were kicked in the balls, you got a Captain Falcon cunt punt when you were 16, and that's why you're on TRT, because you're androgen deficient, because your testicles are basically obliterated, then obviously a fertility protocol is not going to do much. But I also explained in the fertility video that you might need to do an ultrasound and get your testicles investigated and diagnosed if there's any structural issues or impaired blood flow. Clomid, abstain from it. It causes blood clots, ocular changes, all kinds of long-term issues. If you want your fertility to be the best, HCG FSH at high dosages. And then you get super sperm. What free total test level should I go for in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? What kind of questions are this? What's your current sperm count? Don't be so lusty, Joshua. Just open your mouth and be happy with what you can get. What are your thoughts on facial creams with estriol in them? Hearing it's great for skin. I would rather take a facial. No, I don't know, man. My skin is pretty good. I don't know. It's something. The last thing I would look at my skin, man. Look at this shit. I mean, what do I need? It's not something I look into. I don't know, bro. I don't know. Injectable like glutathione, healthy foods, minimizing oxidative stress. That's good for skin. Healthy skin, great looking skin comes from the inside, not from what you put on top of it. Advantages of Aromasin versus Primo for estrogen control. There's no advantage because with Primo you get anabolism and Aromasin you don't. But Aromasin doesn't crush your HDL and SHBG like Primobolan does. So you're on 300 tests, you need estrogen management, you go to 150 tests, 150 Primo, estradiol is not in range, but your HDL and SHBG is fucked. Or you add in 25 milligrams, 37.5 milligrams Aromasin, 12.5 milligrams Monday, Wednesday, Friday for your 300 tests, seems to control estrogen pretty well. Then your HDL would come down slightly because your estradiol comes down slightly. SHBG the same because estradiol comes down slightly, but not as much as Primo because on a milligram per milligram basis, Primo is worse for your HDL than testosterone is and worse for your SHBG than testosterone is. So which blood work parameters do you fancy the most? But if you fancy your cosmetic appearance, then look at this shit. I love it when that guy says it in the comment section. It's like there's like one account that says, "What's up, my dudes?" and then another account that says, "Look at this shit." Like every live stream makes my day. You got to turn yourself into a meme if you want to survive on YouTube. Otherwise, it's not gonna last. So yeah, why would you take Aromasin when you can fucking Canon Max? Oh, shredded, bro. Yeah, look at this hole in here. Yeah. Fuck, I'm on cycle. Feeling good. Breathe saucy. Got it. 500 micrograms LR3 and GH. How long would you run the LR3 for? 6 weeks max. It seems to work. You get some diminishing returns unless you're on Trenbolone. Again, that increases IGF-1 receptor sensitivity after 2 to 3 weeks. So most protocols I wrote at high dose IGF-1 LR3 or Increlex is like 2 to 3 weeks on, 21 days on, and then 1 week off. And during that week off, you take metformin to improve insulin sensitivity, but also crush your IGF-1 levels, because that's what metformin is really good at, crushing your IGF-1 levels and crushing your appetite and your digestion. But that's another story. So you do like a 3-week hardcore phase, and then 1 week a little bit of a caloric reduction and metformin to kind of reset everything, and then you do another 3-week hardcore phase. You can continue the training just as it is, but that seems to work well for most people. So 21 days of IGF-1 LR3 at higher dosages with a lot of food and a lot of GH, and then a little bit of a caloric reduction with metformin, taking the IGF-1 LR3 out. Maybe you reduce the dose of growth hormone, but the metformin should be more than enough to blunt 4, 5, 6 IUs of growth hormone regarding IGF-1 production in the liver. During this 1 week, you restore IGF-1 receptor sensitivity, and that reintroducing the food and the IGF-1 really helps with growth afterwards. Anyone try ARA 290? Yeah. I don't know. I recommended it to a couple guys to help with nerve issues, and they never hear back. So I'm assuming it doesn't work. I tried it for a month. I didn't notice anything. So it helps with shingles. Molecular had to sit in the bathtub to eat or drink anything on 1600 milligrams Tren Ace. Why would you take 1600 milligrams Tren Ace, man? Come on, dude. To see if the lumberexant was working. Molecular, you know better than this. Thoughts on a higher primo to test ratio, like 300 test, 600 primo, will most be crashed on this. Yeah, it depends on what else you run and how much individual aromatase enzyme expression you have. But some guys that are a little bit chunkier have a little bit more aromatase enzyme expression. They need more primo to keep their estrogen in range. So again, start low, build your way up, do blood work before every adjustment. And then if the blood work shows that you need an adjustment you didn't account for, like 300 test, 300 primo, estradiol was already low, then maybe 300 test, 600 primo is not a good idea. And if on 300 test, 300 primo, your estradiol is perfect, escalate it up equally, 450 test, 450 primo, if you wanted a 300 milligram anabolic androgenic steroid intake, weekly intake increase. And if your estradiol is high, then obviously 300 test, 600 primo is warranted. So again, low estradiol, 600 test, 300 primo. Good estradiol, 450 test, 450 primo. And high estradiol, 300 test, 600 primo. If you want to control your estradiol. If it's only about cosmetics, and 300 test, 600 primo, and 300 DHT Enth, you would probably look pretty fucking good. Your estradiol will be, post-apocalyptic, post-menopause, dry skin, hair loss inducing, but you would look pretty fucking freaky, man. I think that's for everybody the case. I think empagliflozin is a great medication to use preventatively for cardiac health and insulin sensitivity. But if you're only doing cardio and you are never, your carbohydrate stores are never chronically saturated, or you follow a ketogenic diet, then there's nothing to prevent because you're already doing everything right. So if you're using steroids and your water retention is a little bit elevated, you take some growth hormone, you're put yourself at a potential for left ventricular hypertrophy or athlete's heart, or your blood pressure is slightly elevated, and you take a boatload of carbohydrates, or saturated fats or whatever, and this would be a good addition. I added the empagliflozin back in this week because on DHT Enth I didn't need it. I was excreting too much electrolytes, too much sodium. But now that the DHT Enth is gone from my system, I can add it back in and retain about the same water balance, same blood pressure, and insulin sensitivity. Yeah, I think empagliflozin is more just to dispose additional carbohydrates, which in many cases, if you live the lifestyle, that's not really an issue for you. Steve, your streams are not uploading to Spotify on a regular basis. I don't think we even upload to Spotify, only Podbean and Apple Podcast. But yeah, I have a guy that does that for me, but he does it every once in a while. So just go watch it here. Oh, I have a Spotify. Yeah, it's right there. From last week, August 1st. All right. Yeah. July 2nd, June 24th. Oh, maybe it's not syncing properly with Podbean. I'll look into it. What does your optimal fasting protocol look like? How long would you fast? What would you use during the fast? What would you put yourself? For me, I have videos on this, bro. I have videos on this, but optimal fasting, salad, vegetables with. I don't really want to answer this. No exercise. It's individual for everybody, man. Just optimize it for yourself. Just optimize it for yourself. I refuse to answer. Too bad. How would you dose Increlex? I got a vial from Italy. Start at 250 micrograms bilaterally and bump it up to 1 milligram bilaterally, depending on your results. About 30 minutes pre-workout. In the main muscle group, you want to improve that workout. So if you do push day and you want to improve chest, 250 micrograms, maybe 500 micrograms, maybe 1 milligram, and go to town. Steve, I'm about to start BBC TB500, GHK copper with 250 milligrams test E, 3 IU's growth hormone, post-diet phase for health. Are there any supplements I need to avoid, like iron, zinc, hoping to relieve tendinitis? No, I don't think so. Post-dieting health phase. I mean, I would think that a load of zinc would be good for you. 12, 15 milligrams per day, at least to offset the GHK copper, because you're injecting copper directly. And zinc and copper use the same transporters. Irons depend on your diet. Again, iron intake highly depends on your ferritin, serum iron, total iron binding capacity, transferrin levels, and tendinitis. I'm not sure if TB500 BPC would and GHK copper would help with that, but any supplements that cause inflammation, maybe curcumin lowers inflammation and helps relieve tendinitis. Chondroitin, collagen, deep tissue massage therapy. I don't think you need to avoid any supplements. I think you need to be proactive with the supplements and some sort of, trauma to remove tendinitis inflammation and improve blood circulation to that area. And whether that's Graston technique or cupping or active release therapy, I'd leave that up to the specialist. I'm sure they got a lot more experience with it than you or me, but you need to see a specialist for tendinitis. What's the most hair-safe secondary compound to control estradiol besides AIs? Maybe metformin to lower aromatase enzyme expression, Cialis. Dichiro-inositol, dimethyl, calcium diglucarate. Getting your body fat levels down. You're not being so fat all the time, I'm on 250 tests, 140 DHT, 35 Tren acetate per week, 4 AU's growth hormone. Feeling and looking the best I have. I want to use Anavar. Do you think I should implement it? Well, if you're feeling good and your blood work looks good and you have wiggle room regarding your SHBG, HDL, and liver enzymes, then by all means go for it, man. By all fucking means go for it, because you're on what, 250? Calculator, why are you so slow? 140, 35. Yeah, 425 milligrams a week. You're not even on a 500 milligram cycle yet. So you want to add in Anavar, 10 milligrams, you're low dose, guys, 70. Dude, you're at 495. Add in 10 milligrams of Anavar per day, increase the growth hormone to 5 IU, and come back in 8 weeks with your blood work. And you should still be in the green. DHT instead of running Primo. No, I think Primo is more anabolic milligram for milligram, but cosmetically DHT is better. I just released a short on Instagram, in case you didn't see it. Do you think this will be the future? Sounds like you cannot run DHT indefinitely and you could low dose Primo, if I'm hearing you right. So what I'm doing right now, I think going forward, I just got like 10 vials of Mastro from Bellygus. He's like, I really want you to try this. We got new batches. It's tested so good. Like, I don't think I'm going to run Mastro ever again, bro. And I still got this Bayer Rimabolin to go through. So what I'm going to do, 6 weeks DHT, 6 weeks Primo, 6 weeks DHT, 6 weeks Primo. I got DHT propionate on the way. So I'll run that at 300 milligrams, see how it compares to Enanthate, because some people anecdotally say that it's better for libido and it has a more pronounced drying out effect, whether that's, from serum fluctuations or because you get more diet testosterone, because the propionate ester comprises less of the formulation than with Enanthate. That I'm not really sure about. I'll do some research, but it's probably because you get more DHT, more bang for your buck with 300 milligrams DHTP versus DHTE. So I'll run that experiment and let you guys know. But I think I'll just alternate. I really like DHT. It's bioidentical. I've always liked bioidentical stuff like high dose test, high-dose growth hormone, insulin, IGF-1. I always responded the best to bioidentical stuff with DHEA and pregnenolone. So I think going forward, since my quad is fucked, I can't, I'm already big enough in the upper body, and it's going to take at least a year for my quad to come back to size, if ever. So I think I'm just going to do 300 test and 300 primo, or 300 test, 3 DHT, alternating, because I'm already 225 pounds. I just need to get a little bit leaner, so I don't need to gain any more size. This is pretty much the biggest discrepancy I feel comfortable with, upper and lower body. So that's what I'm going to do. I recommended DHT to a couple guys, and they're going to run it soon and give us our feedback. And but I think it's going to be very popular. But it's going to be a short duration kind of thing because of the mineralocorticoid receptor inhibition and lowering cortisol levels and the fat loss and then perhaps permanent or long-term 5-alpha reductase enzyme expression and reduction in aromatase enzyme expression. So my estradiol is crushed, but it's fucking low. For 300 test, 300 primo, okay, my body fat levels are low, but it's lower than before because aromatase enzyme expression is downregulated, and I suspect 5-alpha reductase enzyme activity is upregulated while taking DHT, because that's one of the effects that it does. It upregulates its own enzymes. DHT is very overpowering, like fuck estradiol, make more DHT. That's why crushing DHT level is such a bad idea, because it takes forever to get your 5-alpha reductase enzyme activity back. That asshole, the post-finasteride guys. So what I'll do is at the end of this 6-week primo stint, 4 weeks from now, I'll check my DHT levels again. By that time, so that's middle of September, I'll check my DHT levels again. It should be higher than it was at baseline, and that's 6 weeks after the last DHT injection, obviously. So by that time, any kind of injectable DHT will already have been metabolized. So I'm going to alternate and stay around 600 milligrams, 675 milligrams, whatever, 680 milligrams. And because that's all the muscle I need. And again, if I can't improve my quad, then what's the fucking point to take more gear when it's going to the places that makes the discrepancy even more? So, no. Thoughts on Nebido for TRT? My doctor only wants to prescribe this long ester. If blood work says total and free T is good, everything else is effective then. Yes, but don't do the doctor prescribed injection frequency of 1 injection every 12 weeks. Nebido, you would still need to inject once a week, preferably 2 times a week. So if you prescribe 250 milligrams Nebido per week, but only 1 injection, and you get that 4 milliliter shot every 4 weeks, then just ask him to self-administer and do half a cc Monday, Friday, and then you have stable serum levels. Because if you do 1 gram or 1,000 milligrams testosterone, decanoate, and then 4 milliliter shot, you get a lot of aromatization the first week, and it doesn't feel good. So would you say PD education, performance coaching is shit content idea in Europe? I'm a molecular biologist and started skinny fat as a background. Just start, see what happens. I mean, it did wonders for my life. But the bar's been raised with guys like me and Derek, more plates, more dates, and a lot of Leo and a lot of other guys. We really raised the bar, and out of all of the PED educators, I've still the biggest platform. And even though I'm not so active anymore, I don't really see anybody really stepping up their game regarding deep dives besides molecular. Right? And he's still coaching, so he can't produce deep dives very frequently because first of all, it takes a lot of time, and then coaching obviously takes time out of your hands. So the reason why I went so hard is because I wasn't coaching. I was only doing the deep dives and then living off the affiliate money, which is still coming in. But yeah, just start. You'll be surprised. There's always somebody that is looking for it, but you got to make sure that you provide a good service. And that your information is high quality, because everybody is pretty good educated right now, and it's if you're not up to speed, then you look stupid very fast. Steve, tip for the audience: I've been pushing GH dosage, sleeping in compression gloves for arthritis helps a lot. Oh, okay. For the carpal tunnel. That's not bad. So on Amazon, let me see if I can link it down below. That's a good idea. Amazon compression gloves. Compression gloves for arthritis. Ooh, overall pick. Ooh, looks sexy. Did I have one that does the forearm? Get link. At least make your commission on it. All right, I'll link it down below. Which is the first fucking results. I haven't tried it, so don't take my word for it. And I don't really suffer from carpal tunnel. I had some carpal tunnel issues when I increased the magnesium to 300 milligrams, and I was in test deck nandrolone and all that shit. Or test meant Tren, nandrolone, and high dose growth hormone, and a lot of magnesium. But then it went away when I continued. Let's see. Somebody super chatted $50. Oh, Jack. What was this? 140 for the baby. Why can't I show that on the screen? Oh, there it is. Okay. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Where did I put the end? Oh, Jackson. I said no more super chats, and then Jackson, of course, sends $50. At least he was warned. Oh, Joshua's going hard. 2 spammers blocked. Thanks so much, bro. Use the fucking banhammer. Rick Freedom and Loon gone and forgotten. Much appreciated, bro. This is why you're the head mod right now. And keep in mind, Joshua's prepping for a show, so you don't want to piss him off because patience is running thin. Epilonolor and the Corindia or mineralocorticoid receptor agonist, part of the heart failure treatment protocols in 2022. They have uses, but are potent drugs and require monitoring. Yeah, and if you want to inhibit mineralocorticoid receptors, then look at the DHT Enth. I mean, I was pissing out electrolytes like it was nothing. It was insane. How long after Romson you should start nipple itch take to 0? Depends on the dose, how high estradiol was, but I think 2 to 4 weeks is a safe bet. And then again, if estradiol is in range, but progesterone signaling and prolactin signaling is still elevated, then you might still get some nipple itch. Oh, here we go. The 5'4" girl is my fiance. Okay with the money, access to Serostim. She's been on for 2 months, helped her sleep, etc. I just wanted to make sure the fat burning of Serostim isn't counterproductive. She good. Yeah, I didn't think about that. But I would assume that she would want to increase her appetite. And of course, if she's running 2 IU Serostim but eating in a surplus, she's not going to get fat. Because you need to be in a caloric deficit for the Serostim to help with fat loss. And fat is not going to go somewhere unless it's in a caloric deficit. So, but I would save your money. Use the Serostim yourself with DHT Enth so you can have a bigger dick. And then she can add in the 10 milligrams, 20 milligrams, MK677, work on that booty. And then do you have a bigger dick, bigger booty? I mean, marriage is trusted. Take this from me, bigger dick, bigger booty. The marriage is going to last forever. You're welcome. Gold standard to check if the hair is prone to androgenic alopecia. If not prone, I would love to run 1 gram. I have no idea, bro. Look into your family history. If your uncles and your mother's side and your dad's side are balding, then that's a good indication that, test and primo is probably not a good idea. I don't even know if there's a genetic test for that. There might be a genetic test somewhere where you can test your 5-alpha reductase enzyme expression, but I'm not too familiar with hair loss, man. It's not my expertise. 5'9", 155 pounds, 250 tests daily, is 1,500 nanograms per deciliter, total testosterone blood work on point, but my estradiol is at 107. What the fuck? Yeah, you might need an AI. I had a varicose cell pre-cycle. So if you're doing 250 milligrams test E and you're at 107 picograms per milliliter, then you probably need 25 milligrams of Romacin. I mean, it's kind of to be expected, no? And you're pretty underweight. Start eating a little bit more, bro. This is 175 pounds. Sounds a little bit better at 5'9". Oh, $70 for disguised alpha? Well, use my code to get 20% off. And stock up. 100 kilograms, 6'1", 50% body fat, 500 tests, 150 men, 300 primo, or 500 tests, 400 Tren, 300 primo. Ancillaries on hand, estradiol management on Ment. I'm not sure. Using an aromatase inhibitor. Primo might not be enough. Something else, increase lean mass, drop more body fat. Yeah, you're 15% body fat, so you're going to get a lot of aromatization. And 500 tests, 150 Ment is 650 milligrams potential drugs to aromatize, and 300 milligrams primo is not going to be enough. So I would do 250 tests, 100 Ment, and 300 primo. And you can always increase when your body fat levels are lower. That should keep your estradiol in range at 15% body fat. And maybe your estradiol will still be high because 7-alpha methyl estradiol also metabolizes longer and has more receptor affinity, if I remember correctly. So maybe serum estradiol levels are managed, but it doesn't detect the 7-alpha methyl estradiol. Excuse me. And then you still get more estrogenic signaling, requiring you to either increase the primobolan or add an aromatase inhibitor or DHT. At 15% body fat, I would not take 400 milligrams Tren. It's too early. We only run that at sub 10% body fat. And I wouldn't even do 400 milligrams of Tren. I would do 25, 50, 150 at maximum. Just like Ment. Low dose of Ment, low dose of Tren, it's more than enough. Right? If you're 100 kilograms, 15% body fat, you don't have that much muscle at 6'1", and you don't have enough muscle to take this much drugs, especially not 400 Tren. 250 tests, 100 Ment, 300 primo, get down to 10% body fat, and then you can switch to Ment for Tren if you want to, but I don't think it's necessary. Do you run high test all the way into a show or end the cut or pull it down? Do you think you need to drop test at the end? It really depends on how you look. There's no cookie cutter answer for that. But generally speaking, if you're in shape but watery, you can cut the test down or reduce it. And if you're watery and not in shape, then you just need to diet longer. And if you're not watery, but you're still fat, then you still need to diet longer. So there's only one instance. If you're watery and you suspect it's from the high test, without manipulating your estradiol levels, you could cut the test out. Like if you have a little bit thicker skin, I would cut the test out or reduce it and rely on the DHTs. But if you have thick skin, it can also be caused by Trenbolone. Trenbolone also thickens the skin. So, and growth hormone also thickens the skin at higher dosages. So maybe you not only need to take the test out, but also the Tren and the Ment if you're running it. I don't think it's a pre-contest drug, but take the test out, take the Tren out, take the growth hormone out the last 2 weeks, maybe 4 weeks even. See how lean you really are, and then rely on the DHTs to, make you come in dry. Fuck, I'm getting really sleepy now. Is Bromentin able to be taken daily, year-round? No, absolutely not. Twice a week. 25 milligrams, 50 milligrams is enough. We have alternate between Bromentin, Dihexa, KW6536, modafinil, Adderall, just alternate. I think any stimulatory nootropic like bromontane dihexa, modafinil, Ritalin, Adderall, etc., 2 times per week maximum. And then you stack the Noopept and the alpha GPC and the uridine 5-monophosphate. You stack that on top as needed. Growth hormone, any benefit if I'm not taking insulin? I'm 47 years old. Yes. And this question makes me realize that you're not ready for growth hormone because you should know that answer. All right. Let's see if anybody was stupid enough to send super chats. not stupid enough, just showing appreciation. All right. Guys, we're done. It's 2:15. We've been going on for 2 hours and 15 minutes. 305 people here. Let's see if we got at least 305 likes. Probably not. 210. Okay, before you leave, like the live stream. Much appreciated. Again, Disguised Alpha is having 20% off. So if you want to stock up on Hereditary, Jack, thanks so much, man. $50. That's a lot of money. But you owe me a little bit more at the end of this. Me and Jack have a very good working relationship. It's almost gay. Almost. So, guys, 20% discounted Disguised Alpha the entire weekend. They ship to Europe, United Kingdom, France, and Germany. They have Hereditary and semaglutide pens for as long as possible. Exenatide nasal spray. I mean, that shit. If you have any cravings, you take Exenatide nasal spray. It's gone. SLU-PP-332 for the guys who don't remember the start of the live stream. 20 milligrams, 25 milligrams, SLU-PP-332 or SLU-PP-915. 20 to 25 milligrams is approximately the same based on my feeling, not scientific evidence. Is about the same as 100 milligrams SLU-PP-332. So if you want to take less milligrams and get a similar effect, then 20 to 25 milligrams per day seems to be the sweet spot. ATX 304 is back in stock. And yeah, the Anabolic Roundtable and Anabolic Roundtable plus Trensparent podcast, both podcasts will probably drop next week. So you got plenty of material to go through next week. And if you haven't finished the molecular deep dive on Tren yet, then, well, you should, because it was a great watch. I would like to see molecular add in a couple dad jokes, though, to keep my attention, because 3.5 hours, I had to watch it in like 45-minute stints and take some notes. I got all the scientific evidence from molecular. It's all in French, though. So I haven't fact-checked anything, but he did a great job. So go watch that deep dive if you haven't already, and then watch my deep dive afterwards. It's not overlapping. It's like additional information. So I think if you watch those two Trenbolone deep dive, you will probably convince yourself to never run Tren again. And with that, we're at the end of the podcast, the live stream. We'll see you guys next weekend. And a quick reminder, I might not be here on September 5th because I got a wedding. So August 22nd and 29th, and then 5th I might have to skip. Let's see. So you got two more live streams to get your questions in, and then obviously I won't be here for the Mr. Olympia because I'll be at the expo answering your questions there and losing my voice. All right, enjoy your weekend. See you the next one. Peace out.